Chapter 12. The Unseen Path. Years passed, and David's life became a tapestry woven from the threads of triumph and struggle. His career flourished, and his personal life bloomed in ways he had never imagined. Relationships deepened, both with those who had always been by his side and with new faces who had entered his world. Each day brought a new challenge, a new opportunity to live out the lessons he had learned during the darkest chapters of his life. Yet, as is often the case with those who are willing to walk in the light, new trials arose. The shadows never disappeared entirely. They shifted, changed form, and found new ways to creep in at the edges of his peace. But David had learned that the shadows were not to be feared. They were not signs of failure, but of ongoing growth. They were simply the contrasts that defined the brightness of his journey. One evening, years after that first breakthrough, David found himself sitting on the same porch where he had once stood, waiting for the darkness to consume him. Now, with his hands weathered by time and his heart a little fuller with wisdom, he looked out at the horizon. The sun was setting, casting golden hues across the sky. It was beautiful, the kind of beauty that can only be seen after you've lived through storms and stood firm in their wake. He had been given many gifts along the way, gifts he hadn't even known to ask for. But the greatest of all was the realization that life, at its core, wasn't about the big, grand victories. It was about the small moments, the quiet victories that no one saw but made all the difference. It was about showing up day after day and choosing the light, even when the darkness seemed overwhelming. The weight of the world no longer bore down on him as it once did. He had a deeper understanding of who he was and what he was called to do. His purpose wasn't to be the perfect man, free from flaw or failure. His purpose was simply to live authentically, to face the trials with grace, and to spread the light wherever he went. But the most profound realization came in the form of a single quiet thought: I am enough. It was an easy thing to say, but a hard thing to believe. Yet now, after all these years, he had come to know it as truth. The light that had once been a distant beacon on the horizon now radiated from within him. He was no longer striving to become someone he wasn't. He was becoming the man he had always been meant to be, a man shaped by struggle, but filled with an unwavering peace. David closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. The wind gently tugged at the sleeves of his jacket, and for the first time in what felt like a lifetime, he felt a deep sense of surrender. Surrender not to the darkness, but to the light. He had walked a long road to get here, but now the path seemed to stretch before him, endless, full of promise, and wide open.